Okay, so the last part, or the fourth part of our CMA process that I want to show you is how to actually go ahead and put together the presentation that you're going to take to somebody. And we're going to talk about a bunch of different things here. So it's going to be a little longer video, but follow along and you should get to a point where you can deliver a pretty good CMA presentation to people. Okay, so we just finished making the adjustments. We only did adjustments on the first two properties, but you would have done adjustments on all of them. So potentially, or potentially not, there might have been some that you didn't need to adjust, but at least you would have gone through all of them. We just chose to do the first two for the sake of time. So we were on step 3 here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to go right to step 4, which is go ahead and choose the theme for the presentation. So this is pretty straightforward. You can click through and decide what you want your presentation to look like, what theme you want to use, just to have it appear the way you want it to appear. I'm going to go ahead and just use this modern theme, and I think that's the one for me. So then I'm going to go ahead and click on the next step, which is a footer. So I can say whatever text I want in the footer. So in this case, I just wanted to say compliments of Matt Hansberger. Maybe I want to add in my phone number there, and so that they can easily give me a call if they want to. Decide where I want that aligned in the bottom. I like it in the center, and I can go ahead and add any pictures that I want. So if you want to say include logo and include picture, you're just going to go ahead and click on both. You can change any of the photos by clicking on that, and then if you need to, you can upload something from your computer here. Okay, but I've already got the photo there. But when you do get it uploaded, all you're going to do is go ahead and highlight the one that you want and click Insert Image there. Okay, and then just which alignment you want, left side of the text or right side of the text if you only had one photo. But in this case, we're going to have both. So we're going to be good there. The next step is simply a simple one of just choosing, do I want a disclaimer or not? In this case, I'm good. I don't need a disclaimer. Okay. So the next few steps here are the presentation setup. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be choosing what pages excuse me, are actually included in the CMA presentation that I'm going to be binding and delivering to somebody. So you'll see that in this list, excuse me, there's a whole series of pages that you can include if you want to in your CMA process, or in your CMA package, I should say. And then at the very bottom, there's another one called Upload Document. So if you have your own document that you want to add to the CMA as well, you can go ahead and upload that using this button also. I'm going to do one of those at the end so you can see that. Okay. But the first thing is to just choose what pages you want. I'm just going to walk you through some of the more common ones. So the first one is this cover page, and the cover page is one that you're going to have, and almost all of the pages will allow you to preview the page. So if you want to see how it looks, you can just go ahead and click on this preview page, and it's got some information pre-populated there for you so that you can based upon your information at the board, you don't have to do it every time. So if I preview this page, you'll see this is the first page of my report, and it says prepared by myself, and there's my number and all that good stuff, and it says it's prepared for the client that I associated this with, but way back in step 1. That's why it's important to associate it with a client. But I noticed that it's got the wrong address. It's just got him living in Alberta. So I'm going to close that off. And I can manually change that here. So he actually lives at the subject property. And I'm going to say Bedford, Nova Scotia. And his postal code is B4A488. Perfect. I already had it in there. So that's there. Now I can preview the page again. And you'll see that it's got the right address in there for him. And it looks pretty slick. It's a good looking cover page. So just like anything, I can go to the next page using these tabs over here, or I can just simply move down. And on the next page, you'll see cover letter. So the cover letter is something that you can absolutely go ahead and customize here. I have prepared a cover letter that I typically will use in every single CMA using the preferences, the CMA preferences wizard. So if you go in there and you set up a cover letter that you want to use every time, it's just going to simply choose that for you every single time. Now, if you want to modify that, you can always click on Modify, and you can see this is the one that I would have set up right off the bat. But if I want to, I don't need to change anything like that, change anything there, that's good. But if I wanted to, I could go ahead and modify that cover letter using this little simple editor here, and I can type in anything after it. If I wanted to type in some words after what I'm working on there, I can go ahead and do that and say, Matt is the greatest. And that's going to be part of my cover letter now, and I can go ahead and save that. Okay, makes sense, but I don't really want to do that, so I'm good there to just leave that as is. Okay. Makes sense. So I'm back at the cover letter page here, and then the same thing I can do with the agent resume. So if I want to, I can use the one that I've set up for myself. I can have up to 3 saved, or I can just go ahead and adjust it here on the fly. But I've already got one that I'm going to pre-use. Again, set up in that preferences wizard. All right, and I just use the one that I automatically have set up. If I want to just adjust it here on the fly, I can do that as well. In the preferences, the CMA preferences wizard, I also set up a company page that is just a default company page, and you can see, again, I've added a graphic in there in this case and just a little bit of text. You would probably want to do this and set it up once really well for yourself so that you could have this thing set up for you so you don't have to worry about creating it every time you do a CMA. Okay? Make sense so far? So these are ones that, again, you can just, these 3, cover letter, agent resume, and company info. I would suggest that you take the time and spend some time in this preferences, CMA preferences wizard, setting it up for yourself so that you don't have to enter it in every time. The next page is the subject property detail. There's 2 ways to display that. I like subject property 1. Again, you can preview which one you want to see. So this is the one that we would have seen originally when we set up the subject property there. If you wanted to see subject property 2, the detail, you can just choose that, and you can see how it shows here. It looks more like a listing cut. Okay, and it depends on which way you want to see it. So I happen to like property detail 1. If you like property detail 2, go ahead and use that. The summary of adjustments page, so this is what it's going to look like. You don't even have to click on preview page. It shows you what it's going to look like. It gives you the summary of the ones that we did actually adjust. So we only adjusted 2. You'll remember I said that right at the beginning here, and that's going to be something that it just shows up as a separate page and shows those summaries of adjustments that I made. Okay. So then the next one you have to choose from, and you don't have to, you can include both, is the horizontal or the vertical comparable report. So the horizontal comparable report is going to show you the subject property and the comparables that you have, and you can make a decision here about this. So you can have it choose to show the subject property not at all on just the first page of this little report or on every page. So if I say that I want to show it on every page, you'll see that every page of this report is going to have the subject property on the first line. Okay. If I say I just want it on the first page and I preview the page, it'll be there on the first page, but it won't be on all the subsequent ones. So you'll see that I'm just on to all the other properties that I want to compare with. And again, I could have it not display the subject property at all if I just wanted those comparable properties to show up. The other thing is that within this report, I can choose which fields I want it to return information on for this report. So again, if I wanted it to return information on waterfront, I could go ahead and add that in, and then it's going to return that information as a part of the info it brings in about each property. So you can see right here in the subject property, it says waterfront no. Okay, so that's just something that you can choose to what fields you want to go in there. And again, it's going to give you some warnings about not having the remarks go in there because that's just going to make the report huge and unwieldy. So if you don't like the horizontal one, maybe you'll like the vertical one, and you can make those same decisions on the vertical one, and you can just preview that one. And I happen to like the vertical one, so this is the one that I would choose to use. It's going to show you the photos for each property. It doesn't in this case. Let's see if I can click it again to preview the page again. See if we can get the photos up for each of these properties. And then it'll do a vertical comparison of each of these properties, which I think is a little easier to use, and it's important for you to choose which one you like the best. And it summarizes the adjustments that you've made at the bottom too, which I really like, and then puts the adjusted prices along the bottom here. So I think this one's a little easier to use, but totally your choice. And you can choose whether to have the statistics, the summary of the statistics come into to either of those reports as well. Okay. The next page is what's called the CMA summary, and again, the only thing you can choose here is which field preferences are there, so which fields you want to include. So you'll see there's not a lot that are included there, so I might choose to also include total baths, maybe square footage, so I'll include that in, and then I'm going to go ahead and save that. Oh, you can only have 5, so what I'll do is I'll take out region since I don't really need that one. Let's remove that, and we'll take out total baths. We'll just have the square footage. Okay, so we'll save that, And we'll preview that page, and you'll see here's the summary of everything, and it's all in there. Okay, it's done some math for us on total dollars per finished square foot, et cetera, et cetera. It's in there. And again, if this is too wide, maybe you're going to want to take out one or two of those columns to make it a little bit more attractive. So I'll go back and I'll just say I'll take these two out because I don't really need the status. So we'll save those. We'll save that and preview that page again, and maybe it's gotten a little bit nicer. And there it is. It's a little bit nicer. Okay, gives you the square footage, the MLS number. Probably doesn't need the MLS number either, so maybe I'll put the status back in. Again, you can play with that to make the report look attractive for yourself. Okay, and that's just a summary page. You can then get a couple of statistical pages. So this is actually going to give you a graph or a graphical representation of some of the list prices and sale prices of properties. And you can see that these, it shows you just the list price on this one, no sale price because some of these are active, right? And then you get the list and sold price beside each other to give a little graphical representation of how close we're getting to list price. And then these are expired. So again, no sale price on those. Okay. So you get that, and you can again customize it a little bit there with how you want it to look, price, colors, things like that, transparency. The price analysis, so you can again use this to create your suggested list price. So these are the adjusted prices that you have here. If you want to go ahead and type in your suggested list price, so we'll say $349.9 is our suggested list price. Okay. And you can have it update the subject property price. Maybe I won't do that in this case. I'll just preview the page, and you'll see that it'll show me, again, some comparable properties, and then it'll have the suggested list price in there for me as well at the bottom. And you can probably just use a highlighter to highlight that once you have it all printed off. The seller's net sheet is a good one as well. So if you wanted to give them a range, if you thought it'll sell between sort of 340 and 350, and then go ahead and type in the commission percentage that you use. It's going to give you the total commissions that they'd pay, what they owe on their property. So if they owe $245 on their property, and then any other estimated closing costs that you'd have here, so maybe lawyers or something like that. It defaults a couple of American ones, but it'll show you what the net to the seller would be after all of those things, and it'll do the math here. So if you added in the lawyer's fees here, we'll say that that's going to go ahead and adjust what the total closing cost would be and then what the net to the seller would be after they pay out their mortgage. Important to include mortgage penalty on this if they're not going to move to another property and port that mortgage. Next page is a map page. So again, you can preview that and you can choose to zoom in as much as you want or zoom out. Okay, so that's all you're going to do with this page. And if you click on the map, you can zoom in or out, and you can take a look at it that way. Final comments, you can write some final comments. And the rest of these are just basically marketing type of pages that are pre-written and are there for you. Okay, so you can go ahead and just take a look at all of them if you want. The value of a real estate professional, the marketing planner, where you can actually go ahead and put in dates there and handwrite those in and bring that to the person. Maximizing first impressions is all about staging a home, showings, and open houses, just details about all that stuff. And then if you have a document that you want to upload that is something that you've created, it should be a PDF document, you can go ahead and you can choose that document and you can upload it. So clicking on upload document and then finding that document that you want to upload. So I've got one saved here, this RLP by the numbers one. I'm going to go ahead and choose that one, and I can make a description of it. So RLP by numbers, and go ahead and save that. You can see I now have this RLP by the numbers document in there, and that's something that's going to be a part of my presentation. Importantly, you can also move all of these around. You can choose to reorder them however you want to order them. Okay, so just dragging and dropping them is going to be something that you can do to reorganize all of them. So maybe I'll move this one up here after RLP, after company info. Now, when you're creating the presentation, and this is sort of the last step before you go ahead and you're going to generate the presentation, you have to just check on all the pages that you want. Okay, so I'm going to choose, I don't want the horizontal one, I like the vertical one. I like the summary page. I like this. I don't love this report, so I'm going to leave it off. I'm going to choose to have all these. I don't have any final comments, so I'm going to leave that off. And then I'll choose to have all of these reports go into it as well, where the dollars go in the moving checklist. Okay. So once I've selected those, again, it's always a good idea just to save as you're going along. So I've just saved that one there. couple ways you can go ahead and generate the presentation. So you can expand this, and it looks like you haven't generated your presentation. You can start there. If you're back on the moving checklist, you can, or any of these actually, you can always just click generate presentation, and it's going to take you to that same page. So the final presentation here, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click start, and you can see that it's going to assemble the components. So it's going to put everything together for me. And this can take a little bit of time if you have a lot of information in there. And this is going to convert it to a PDF document for me. So in a minute here, I'm going to have a PDF document that I can do anything that I could do with a normal PDF document. And it's going to be ready for me to go ahead and create the actual document on paper or electronically that I can send to myself and do all those different things with. Okay. So I'm about to get my PDF document. You see I've got 27 pages here. I can scroll through and look at any of those pages. Okay, so anything that I might have wanted to change, I can then go back and change. If I want to go back and change something, I just go back and change it, and then I generate the presentation again. In this case, I'm pretty happy with all of this stuff. I want to get a little more room here to see some of this stuff, so I'll be clicking through. And let's see, what else do we have? The summary, the comparable reports are all there. Good. I've got this report that I did. I've got this page where I did the seller's net sheet so we can see what they're going to get. I've got the map of all the properties. I've got all those reports that I asked for, including the value of a real estate professional, etc., etc. Okay, so I'm ready to go there. I'm going to go ahead and hit Save CMA Components again. I just like to save before I do anything. Okay. And then you'll see it says print or download with any of the PDF controls below. So over here, there's a few little components that you can do. You can go ahead and open the file. You can print the file from here. I think probably the best thing to do is just download the file from here. So I want to download that, and I'm going to save it. Okay, and it's here for me. I can go ahead and save it and to my computer, and then I can go ahead and print it the way I would print any document, like a PDF document. Okay. So again, if I wanted to, I can come back here, come back to my final presentation. And maybe I don't want this moving checklist, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the moving checklist and see if I can generate the presentation again. I decided I don't want that component before I do anything here. Go ahead and do this. Let it convert to the PDF. And a lot of times what you're going to want to do is print it, so I'm going to go ahead and just print this one once I get it up. I've got my whole thing here. Go ahead and print. I should let it load first. Here it comes, loading up. So you're going to go ahead and click on the print tool, and it'll take you into your regular printer wizard, and you should be good to go and print it to whatever printer you have attached. Okay? So any questions you have, just let me know. Happy to answer them. Okay? Take care, folks.